Another week of trading is in the books, and this gives us the chance to take a step back and to look at gold and silver on the weekly charts. To kind of block out all the noise of the daily charts, the 4-hourlies, the 30-minute charts, all the wild rumors here and all the geopolitical and economic developments over here that move the prices around. Let's look at it from a bird's eye view, and what we see in gold and silver is absolutely fascinating, and not enough people are talking about it. We can get a real edge zooming out on gold and silver, and that's what we're going to do in this video today. Let's get right into it. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days, weeks and months. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day. My name is Daniel Wilhelmi. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos. Another week of trading in the books. I can't believe it's already the middle of May. This year is flying by. It is absolutely wild, but that's not our topic for today. Our topic for today is the focus on gold and silver and the weekly charts. And let's jump right into it. We're going to start with gold. Now, I pulled up a different gold chart than you see on the dailies because I wanted to clean it up for all the levels that we use for the daily chart. Again, we want to look at the weeklies to get the overall trend, to get a feeling for the overall trend, and to see the mid to long-term developments clearly. And if you've seen any of my videos, the daily charts are like a Picasso on cocaine. So that doesn't help us very much when we look at the weekly. So we're gonna take, again, we're gonna get on the bus from the daily charts. We're gonna take a long bus ride to the weekly charts, and here we are. So let's start with gold, and this gets really interesting. This is the weekly chart of gold. As you can see, we broke out in 2024. We had a big run up to 2025, almost uninterrupted. Then we had this consolidation phase that lasted from April to August. And then we had the second wave, the big time breakout. And now for February, March, April, May, for about 4 months now, we're in another consolidation. It's a big consolidation. But as you can see, and here is the first big factor, the first big signal that the weeklies give us, that you can see in the daily, but again, you get caught up in all the different micro levels and you don't see it as obvious. And that is, this is clearly a bullish consolidation phase. We have a flag pattern right here, and I talked about this on this channel for weeks. I think a couple of months ago I started talking about it and told you we're building out a flag pattern, a bullish consolidation pattern. And if we look at the tippy top of the flag, it shows us we're going to reach the tippy top of the flag in about the second half of August. So at the very latest, in the second half of August, we can expect a resolution of this consolidation either to the upside or to the downside. There's only one other person that I know that's talking about this in this type of structure. That's Jordan from the Daily Gold, and he does an outstanding job. I don't even know the gentleman, but free shout out, he deserves it for sure. And I've told you before, I expect a breakout this summer, probably even earlier than that. So this is what the weeklies tell us. We might be stuck in this consolidation for another 3 months. That's possible. Not necessary, but possible. But then the resolution will come. Where will it go? In my opinion, it will be to the upside. We have an ascending 50-week here, the purple line. We have an ascending 200 weekly. We have the uptrend that has been in place since 2025, basically since we finished this consolidation pattern. It's much longer than the short-term, now mid-term consolidation downtrend that we see here. And now obviously we're getting into the things that are really interesting, what happened more recently, and that is we have not made a new low, either intraday or on the close. That's quite bullish. And obviously we got super support here with this ascending uptrend that has been tested successfully a couple of times here and obviously here. And right below it, we have the 50 weekly, and we know if we get on the daily, the 200 daily is also moving in this area as well. So that's a lot of support to the downside, which again, to the upside, we just have one resistance zone. Really, that is the downtrend, while on the uptrend, we got three levels, 50 weekly, 200 daily, and the uptrend. So that looks promising and gives us an overall picture. What does that mean for me personally? For me, that means if I get weakness, I want to add to my gold positions and I want to load up on gold mining stocks. We're also starting to see, this is interesting, the RSI down here, it's starting to make higher lows. Now it's just starting out. Clearly you can see but we can see there's a change in RSI momentum. And we see that it is above the 50 level, which is the level that defines, is there more buying dynamic or selling dynamic? Now it's not significant yet, but we pay close attention to it. The big problem that we had with gold and silver was this massively overbought RSI. And that's what we talked about, that we said, hey, this needs to cool down. This is not healthy. For a long-term development and a long-term uptrend, this needs to come down. And that's exactly what has happened. So in that regard, especially if we move to the upside slowly, we're going to have a lot of power for a breakout to the upside this summer and then a continuation to the upside in gold. Again, that makes complete sense if we look out. The midterm elections are coming, which will lead to uncertainty. Will the Republicans lose the majority in Congress? Will the Trump government become a lame duck government? Rate cuts, which Trump obviously wants ahead of the elections. Inflation worries coming with it. All that is bullish for gold. So it makes sense that gold price would anticipate that with a move up. Now we see that, and this is the important candle, the last week was really good for the gold price. It was quite important, it was good. Why was it important? Because it held the 4,500. This is the zone that I pointed out to you in the last gold videos that has been defined by institutions as this is the area that needs to hold. We break below this, stop's going to be triggered, and it's going to be a waterfall sell-off. I thought this week, based on the past 2 weeks, which had been these red candles with lower lows, lower highs on all levels, so intraday and daily closes, and as you can see here as well, weekly closes, you would think, okay, we're going to get the pressure on 4,500. And we did for a hot minute, but you look in the end, we are about to break the downtrend on the weekly that has been in place since February. That would be significant. Now we know from the daily analysis, and again, if you miss these videos, hit the subscribe button. We really need to get over 4,800, 30, 40, and this zone right here on the close to turn this more bullish. On the daily, we are still, and let me show you this because this is important, that will be the only time we look at it, we're still below the 50-day moving average, which is important. If we cannot break the 50-day moving average, then we have to assume that at some point the bull's going to give up in terms of the short-term trader bulls, and we're going to get the leg lower. I thought and was hoping that we would test the uptrend, that we would test the 50 weekly, this area right here. But the interesting part is, as you can see, both of these trend lines are moving up. So even if we test it now here, which would be in this support zone, let me draw this in here for you. Which, as you can see now, is we're getting closer. So the probability, even if we test this or slightly undercut it, that we're not going to make a lower low than this sell-off here that we saw in March, are increasing for us. That is very positive. And if we would see this in the market, that would very, very quickly trigger a change of perspective about gold, where all of a sudden investors would say, oh, wait a minute, it didn't make a new low, there was a correction, it didn't make a new low, we need to get in on this. So let's not lose our bullish focus on gold. The weekly clearly shows us we are, yes, the consolidation phase, it's tiring, it's annoying, I get it, but that's all it is. It is not a change of trend yet. We are below, and we are above the 50 weekly, we're above the uptrend, we're above the 200 daily. Very important trend lines. We're above all of them. So as long as that is the case, there is no change of trend in gold, and we have to assume that this consolidation this summer gets resolved to the upside. That's what the probabilities tell us right now. So that means weakness, even shorter and smaller weakness, have to be considered now to be buying opportunities for gold and the gold miners, if you agree with me on my assessment. And I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a German guy looking at charts and trying to speak English. So at least I don't speak with a strong German accent, so that makes your video more pleasant, I think, but I can do that if you want. Let's get to silver, because this is where things get really interesting. And again, I used a different chart, but same thing, just to clean it up for you. And as you can see, in the weekly, very clearly, and this is the big surprise that will probably catch a lot of people by surprise, silver looks better than gold. Silver looks better than gold and is already moving. And you don't hear that anywhere in the markets right now. But this is what we see when we look at the weekly charts. So what does that mean? That means if we want to build out gold and silver positions, if that's something you're interested in, the silver positions have to come first, because it looks like silver is about to break out and it looks way, way more dynamic than gold. And that is the biggest realization we get when we look at the weeklies. So we're above the uptrend, obviously. We're above the 50 weekly, purple line, obviously. Okay. We made a higher low, got it. And we're very, very close to making a higher weekly high. As you can see, we have an ascending triangle formation. I've showed you this resistance zone in the daily before. We break above this resistance zone. We have a change of trend in silver, and the silver party is continuing. And in the RSI, you see already that silver is gaining more and more dynamic power than gold has. Here's the interesting part. Okay, so silver already broke this short or medium downtrend that has been in place since the beginning of March, end of February, right? Okay, gold has done the same thing. But here's the other thing that nobody's talking about. Silver has already broken the long-term downtrend. Now, compare this to gold. Here's the gold chart, and you can see long-term downtrend, right? From the January highs to the March, February highs, still intact. But with silver, we have a completely different development. It looks better. It has decoupled. January high, March high, it's broken. So this means we break this resistance zone. Silver is going to jump clearly very fast to about $93 to $95 an ounce of silver. And that's when all of a sudden you'll start hearing again about, oh, the silver party is back on. The silver squeeze is on, which it will be. That's true. That's one of the reasons. Silver is ready. Look how dynamic the weekly breakout above the downtrend, the short to midterm downtrend, is compared to gold. Gold is barely over the downtrend, just trying to break out of it. Silver, dynamic breakout, already confirmed. Now, why is that? It actually makes complete sense if you think about it. We have the short squeeze, the institutional short squeeze in silver, and they're running into problems anytime the prices start to get higher. We know this. I've told you on this channel before, silver is one of the secret winners of the developments around the Iran war, the Strait of Hormuz, with, in my opinion, a big time comeback of solar around the world as countries realize we need to be more energy and oil, especially oil independent, not only from the Middle East, by the way, also from the US. Let's be serious here. So there's a fundamental boost for silver, and we're clearly starting it to play out. Clearly, smart money is starting to figure out that there's a new bull case for silver coming into the market, and we better get ahead of it, especially if we have short positions. We better close those out soon. So, silver, you look at this chart, if I don't tell you what this is, and I don't know, you're like a Bitcoin investor, a crypto investor, I tell you this is Bitcoin, you would look at this chart and you would say, this looks great. This looks like a bottoming formation in place. Anytime on the weekly, we get bigger sell-offs, they get bought up, and you can see it here with these long tails. Most recently, the past 2 weeks. Interesting, right? Past 2 weeks, we got major moves down, and they got bought up right away on the weekly. And this is why zooming out is so important. You will not really see this that clearly in the daily charts. But in the weekly, we see, okay, people are buying up the weakness in silver. So that is it for today. That was our zoom out. Now, I wish you a fantastic weekend. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet so you don't miss any of the videos. If you're interested in a newsletter, it's free. You can sign up. Link is in the comments, or go to bullmarketlifestyle.com. This weekend video about the agricultural commodities and the party that's going on there that nobody's talking about might be interesting for you. Have a great weekend. That is the most important thing for sure. And we see us on Monday if you're not part of the VIP newsletter. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.